The net worth of this company is $25 billion. There are 40,000 employees working for this company. It operates in more than 100 countries. It has been operational since 1979. And it is one of the fastest growing companies. It has been getting a growth of over 60% year on year. Very good evening to you all. I'm Sudarshan here, and I'm going to speak on Al-Qaeda today. Basically, we are going to look at the business model of Al-Qaeda. The point is, we all know about Al-Qaeda and what Al-Qaeda does, what it is famous for. But now, I'm here going to give a different picture of it. What is the success story behind Al-Qaeda? Why Al-Qaeda has been so successful and why it has been continuing for such a long time? That is the objective behind this presentation. The idea of today's presentation would be like this. We would look at the basic 4 functions of Al-Qaeda in terms of marketing, operations, finance, and recruitment per se. Important disclaimer I would like to make that I am not here to speak on what Al-Qaeda is doing right or wrong. I am purely here to speak on the business model and how it is working. So there is no question on if it is doing the right things or not. That's a different debate in altogether. So the agenda for the day would be, I'll be clocking in roughly 13 to 15 minutes. We will be looking at leadership, then we will be looking at operations, finance, marketing, and then recruitment. So these are the major parts of any good company. So we'd start off with what is the driving factor behind Al-Qaeda, as to what is the goal or why Al-Qaeda is known for what it is doing. It is basically because of the fact that they are working towards a very common goal of jihad, and it has been running inside the member of every Al-Qaeda employee, you could say, and they are very much focused towards their goal, which is true for any company. So that has been the major goal of Al-Qaeda. We start off with the leadership part. Leadership, as we all would have known, is the most important thing for any company to do well. And there is no doubt that Al-Qaeda has been doing brilliantly on this front. To start off, this is the organization structure if you look at Al-Qaeda. Now, if you see, there is the general and the core leaders, okay? The Bin Laden doesn't fit any of them. He's on the level above. I'm trying to show the organization structure from the working point. So if you see his general and the core leaders, these are the nodes. I would be explaining more about them in the operational part, how these nodes function. And then you have somebody called the Shura. The Shura is basically the guy, he's kind of an administrative head. And he would be monitoring the media, the finance, the military, and the religious part of Al-Qaeda. So they have a well-defined structure in terms of who handles what, and their responsibilities and roles are well-defined. Going ahead, in Al-Qaeda, the best part is it doesn't follow any single organization structure. You could not say that it is having a tree model or a hierarchical, some other type of structure or a circular model. If you can see, this is, in few countries it may be following the star method, this method, node method, any of these methods. So that's the best part. Al-Qaeda doesn't follow a common structure. They do it as and what suits the country or the situation. Now going ahead, these are the 3 basic driving forces behind Al-Qaeda's success. Osama bin Laden, as you all know, and this is Al-Zawahiri. He is the CEO or the brainchild behind most of their very good attacks, you could say. And this is the military head. He is Abu Zubaydi. Okay, he is the one who is in charge of handling all of their military activity in terms of recruitment, in terms of procurement, everything. All of these activities are handled by him. Going ahead, so on a brief basis, we could see that there are 3 structures in Al-Qaeda. There is the top level, which I just showed you now. Next is the middle tier. So the middle tier sections are the people basically who are the Islamic radicals. Okay, they are at different places located. So they are looking at the second level of Al-Qaeda. So you have the leadership, the main people, the second level. The third level, if you see, they are the bottom tier people, and these are the local radical Islamists. So what does Al-Qaeda do is they go around different places, they operate, and they pick up local radical people out there, they train them, and they are the people who form the bottom tier of Al-Qaeda. So it's a very well defined, well organized structure in that sense. Next, going ahead, mergers and acquisitions are not a part of only industries. Mergers and acquisitions are, mergers and acquisitions are happening in the terrorist world as well, and Al-Qaeda is one of them who does a lot of mergers and acquisitions. These are the few major ones. There is Hizb-ut-Tahrir is the Islamic radical one, which is operating very good, very I would say very strongly in America, and they joined hands with this company in this group in 1993. Okay. Then Abu Sayyaf is the one who's operating in the Middle East, Asian, Malaysia, Singapore, those regions. They are tied up with them also, and ETA, Beitan Jarari is basically the one in European and Russian regions. So they have had good tie-ups with quite a number of organizations. Moving ahead, we would look into the operations part of it. Another important aspect for any company to be doing well. In that terms, when I mentioned in my starting slide that they do have a spread of over 100 countries. So you could see these are the locations where Al-Qaeda is currently active and doing pretty well. Going ahead, I had also mentioned that I would be explaining about how the cell operations work. So basically, if you understand these regions, a group of each of these three could be a country, could be a region, or could be a continent. Okay. So in terms of, say, this is the Indian operations. So inside India, at the major cities, they would have three heads who would be managing all their operations, and then say this is Pakistan. So the idea is at each of the regional levels, they have 3 to 4 guys who are managing inside the country, and all of them are very well connected. So you could apply this to a local level as well. Say in Bombay, this is the structure. This would be the structure in, say, Goregaon, and this would be structure in Parla. So they are all well connected inside Mumbai. So the idea is, they have a common structure which they can apply at any level, be it the country level or be it the local city level. Next, if you see Al-Qaeda, how it has evolved over the times. If you see, they have a common goal which I have already mentioned, and this is the timeline. So they started off as a group who was looking after the Islamic radicals or principles, what you can say. So they were looking at the propaganda and organization. They were trying to propagate their idea of radical Islam. So that was when the initial stages of when it evolved or when it started, you could say. Okay, then moving ahead, phase 2, they have got into guerrilla warfare. So that was the next level of what Al-Qaeda did over the time, and it was more nearer to the goal. So it nicely shows how every movement they have gone nearer and nearer to the goal as time progressed. And the third one is what they have been currently doing, movement warfare. They have started a movement on its own by attacking whoever is against them. So they have kind of started a revolution, you could say. Going ahead, inventory per se, I think we will all agree to the fact that Al-Qaeda has some of the best inventory in terms of arms and ammunition. Today, as per the latest records, it consists of the latest technology, including nuclear weapons, and they boast of a very strong inventory of over, I think, 700 or 800 million US dollars. And they constantly keep updating it. All of their leaders are very well educated in terms of technology. They are very well aware, and they see that they have the best of inventory at all times. Next, coming to the most important part in terms of financing. For maintaining such a vast network and also for maintaining such a good inventory and operations, I think financing was the most important activity. If you see, most of the people in the Al-Qaeda, the top level people, they were from very well-off families. So they actually inherited a lot of wealth, which helped them to move ahead with the organization. So the initial finances were obtained, were all inherited wealth. And then they found out the best method probably to finance themselves for a long time, that was diamond mining. A lot of diamond mining in African countries, predominantly where it is happening. A lot of income to Al-Qaeda comes from here, and they are very active over, most of their income is from this diamond mining business. Business activity, I actually went through this book about Al-Qaeda. One of the authors had written it, and he had very well mentioned that it was surprised. He had written as a part of his finding that in fact Al-Qaeda had proper accountants and bankers to manage all of their funds, and there were 3 or 4 very good accountants who would manage all the accounts, who would manage all their banking operations, what fund goes where, tracking everything. So it was actually kind of a very good organization working with all the best resources, you could say. Trading, this is how they have been getting all their arms, ammunitions, people, places, whatever you could say. Gold trading, diamond trading, and gem trading. These are the 3 major businesses which Al-Qaeda is into, and they have been doing it for almost 30 years now since their inception, and it's been going well for them. Dubai, as you all know, is the major hub for them. Again, from where predominant amount of their money flows in. So Dubai and Hawala, again another very good source of money. So we would have seen the basic instances of how finance comes. This is the limited information, whatever was available through, I could find through few movies and books I have collected and tried to put it over here. Because not much information is available on the net itself about Al-Qaeda. So, okay, another part, you would say that what is in it for Al-Qaeda to do marketing or branding about themselves. But then the fact that a lot of young Muslims are ready to go and join Al-Qaeda, that's the fact that they are doing marketing and they are branding themselves very well. And I think for branding you would need to have a face, and I think Osama bin Laden is the best face for Al-Qaeda. And he's been the inspiration for all of them for a long time. So in terms of branding themselves, or brand ambassador you could say, that is Osama bin Laden. Also, in terms of brand, this is to depict brand dilution. Al-Qaeda has been very careful to see that its brand doesn't get diluted. So whenever it was, say, mergers and acquisitions, or whenever they were going to take over, or any operations, they always saw that their image is not diluted. So they took over only those companies who had some credibility. So it was not that they would just go there and pick up anybody and tell, come on, you join us to this activity. So they were very careful about whom they were operating with, how they were operating it, and they saw that their brand image always remained intact. Okay, recruitment, I found this nice clipping on recruitment, and I thought it would be apt over here. Recruitment, as you all know, is being going in big numbers, particularly in those Afghanistan and Pakistan regions, and consistently they have been getting a lot of people into it, even though we would see the number of activities of Al-Qaeda going down these days, but that's not the case. In fact, as I told before, they have been growing at over 60% consistently for the last 5 or 6 years, and that's the best numbers we could show probably. Okay, so this is the few references, and you can shoot any questions if you have.